Well, Nathan Judo, I'm here with Wolves reporter is Mr. Liam Keane, where it's finished. Pre-season's finished.
It is.
Pre-season's finished. It's finished. Wolverhampton Wanderers 0, Celta Vigo 1, and look, this game was free to season ticket holders, Liam, and I'm pleased it was free because you won't want to pay too much to watch that.
No, and the people at home paying to watch it on their streams as well. Not inspiring by any means. A couple of small okay moments in either half of Wolves sort of up the intensity a little bit. Otherwise, it was very much a training game again.
Yeah.
And this is the game really for me out of all of the pre-season games. Like it's the final one, but it's also at Molineux.
You want to up the ante a little bit, don't you?
You're thinking you want to give these fans a little bit of something.
Sure.
And Wolves didn't really offer them anything. Celta Vigo scored a very good goal, but could have scored before that as well. Mm-hmm. Then should have scored a second, but somehow a player misses it from with an open goal from a few yards, and that pretty much sums Wolves up. Uninspiring, and they needed a lot of help.
They need a lot of help. One of those players who hopefully will provide that help was Wolf on debut. 45 minutes for him, left wing back. What did you make of that?
Yeah, he took a blow to the head. I was going to clear this up first of all because obviously we were concerned, thinking if he's got a concussion here, there's going to be a protocol when he's going to miss the Man City game.
Yeah, it took about 5 minutes down here, didn't he?
He did, yeah, and he looked uncomfortable as well. But he came off at half time, and of course that then makes us a little bit more worried. I interviewed the player as well as asking people at the club. The player says I was always meant to come off at half time anyway. That was the plan because he's not played for a little while. And also speaking to the club, they say there's no injury, there's no concussion, so he should be fit and fine to play, which is obviously very good news.
And starting ahead of Hugo Bueno, which you would expect that it's going to be his to lose,
I think
at least
so.
for going to Manchester City.
I think so. And from what I saw, let's look at both those players, which is a battle really for that left wing back spot. What I saw in Wolf, of course, it's only the first 45 minutes.
Sure.
You've got to give a little bit of benefit of the doubt. Is a player that is going to be very steady. Mm-hmm. I think defensively he's going to be good and strong. He's tall, he's about 6 foot or so he's all of these things are going to add to Wolves defensively.
Sure. Going
forward, he's not the fastest, he's not the most dynamic, he's not necessarily going to get you out of your seat like someone like Ryan Aït-Nouri is, but he did put in a really good cross on his weak foot, his right foot cut inside. So look, is he going to come and score 5, 6, 7, 8 goals next season? I can't see it.
No. Industrious though.
Industrious, and is he going to add something a little bit different? I think so, hopefully.
A little bit of grit, a little bit of metal, probably better defensively than Ryan Aït-Nouri.
I think so, yeah, exactly. And time will tell exactly how that's going to work out. What we saw in Hugo is a player that I think, for the big chance that I've not actually seen a replay, but I've seen tweets and we missed it at the time live. But apparently, from what I've been told, the chance when Celta Vigo should have made it 2-0. Bueno had a nightmare defensively. He does occasionally struggle in those areas, but going forward, I saw a player that was a lot more dangerous going forward, in my opinion. Look, I've said this from the beginning. I want Hugo Bueno here and fighting in this team and fighting to get in. I think it adds great competition to the team and it makes that left side stronger. I'm just not sure that's going to be a reality.
No, but I mean, look, if you look at it at this moment in time, if you do have Wolf as your starter, are you good enough to have Rodrigo Gomez as your backup? I mean, I'd want to, like you say, have both of those players battling it out, almost being a 50-50 battle. I think that raise each other. And I think the problem in the past has been there's been players who are too comfortable, where there's no one really behind them, and so they know they're starting every week. I think that would be really something that Victor would want to happen.
Being comfortable leads to complacency, doesn't it? And that's where mistakes creep in, that's where the team starts to falter. So yeah, I completely agree. I like Rodrigo Gomez a lot, but he's going to be a bit part player. He's going to come in and out of the team, and that's the balance Wolves and the players have got to try and strike really. So yeah, frustrating.
In terms of top, are we looking okay? I mean, look at Arias again. The fans got to see him today. A little bit quieter than what he was against Girona.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely quieter, but you've got the situation where he's sort of still, I think, getting to grips with what this team needs and what Vitor needs of him. We saw a great cameo, if you will, for 25 minutes or so off the bench against Girona, but what I think he'll be is a player that isn't going to necessarily score you the goals that Cunha scored. I don't necessarily think that's true, but will he bring experience, numbers, and that sort of senior player in those forward positions? I think so. Yes, so I think he'll be a good player for Wolves, but as I continue to say, they need some more additions, but particularly in that forward area as well.
I was going to mention Jürgen Strand Larsen, but he was walking right behind the camera, so I didn't want to mention too much. But in terms of him, look, he's the main guy, he's the man up front, he's the number 9, but looked isolated at times to me today, and that's going to be, I guess, whether they need to bring someone else in, or whether it's Marshall Menezzi or whether it's Afer Lopez, but someone needs to play tighter, I think, to Jürgen Strand Larsen. What you cannot have him isolated in this team. We saw his best run of goals was when Marshall Menezzi was very close to him, playing very close. Great work off the ball as they're going in the tunnel now, but I just wonder whether they've got that player at this moment in time, because he didn't look himself today.
Yeah, one thing I will say about Larson is I think he's getting better at holding the ball up. I said that to you during the game. I think he's winning his headers more. I think he's holding the ball up a lot better. Look, we're not playing Premier League sides as well, so that's important to mention, but I do think that's an improvement from him. And to be honest, all the things you said there I don't disagree with, but I also don't think a lot of it is his fault.
No, it's not his fault at all.
No.
I'm saying it's people around him, but it's fine holding the ball up and waiting for balls, but you're going to get crosses from Kiana, Hoover and Wolf. You're going to get them on your head. I don't think you have, so you've got to come back into play a little bit.
Wolves' crosses have been poor actually, and particularly again today as well.
And they're playing very narrow, and they're not quick. They haven't got a lot of pace in this attack at this moment in time. So it's very much pedestrian, very much predictable, and that's what I'm worried about.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I do think that Ferland Lopez, albeit is he someone that I think is the answer to play week in, week out for Wolves? No, I think you need further additions. But I think he is someone that took up some really good positions again today. That final pass and the final shot, maybe there's improvement to be had. But I do think there's a player in there that could be really important for Wolves next season. With time, that's a really important thing to mention as well. But you're right. The team needs additions. Right wing back is a must. Another centre midfielder is a must, albeit not the priority in comparison to other positions because they've got two fantastic ones already. Left centre half is one that they want to do. Again, not a number one priority, but it's a more of a depth issue. And alongside right wing back, the other priority for me is another forward, without a doubt, and potentially two, depending on. I'm not saying Wolves will get two because we know they want at least one, but in my opinion,
Ged's gone if Wang goes as well.
In my opinion, potentially two is going to be needed.
I thought Sasha did okay when he came on, by the way.
He did. Yeah, he did. Again, I don't think he'll be.
No, I agree.
And also, I'm not sure I'd want him as your next in line as well. I think Wolves need further depth in there, but it's worrying because it was uninspiring. It really was today. The fans will look at that and say it's not good enough, and they'll be bang on to say that.
Well, look, we've had 6 games in pre-season. We've watched all of them, winless, and that's not the be-all and end-all by any means. It's the performance. But you look at the performance, and we're worried. The fans are worried. I think Vitor's probably worried. We're worried, and quite rightly so, because you've got Manchester City coming here in 7 days' time, and you look at that performance today, and of course they'll be better. Of course, the intensity will be up by 2 or 3 or 4 notches. They will have to be. But at the same time, they're not good enough at this moment in time. You look at this squad, you look at the players, and this is a team that are going to struggle mightily in the Premier League.
I agree. I do think they'll step it up in the Premier League in comparison to pre-season because that's a natural step to make anyway. But is it going to be enough to go and beat Man City?
And get results in the Premier League?
At the moment, there's no way you can confidently say it will be enough. They need help. They need the signings. The performances have been worrying in large parts. I mean, second half against Lon, for example, really worrying. The start of the second half against Girona, really worrying. There's been okay bits in there, but that's as far as we can go in terms of positives.
Yep.
And it's not the results in pre-season, it's the performances, as you say. Put those winless and 6 to one side. The performances we're talking about have been way below par. And this is against teams that would struggle in the Premier League as well. So Wolves have got a lot of work to do. Upstairs, boardroom, and bringing players in. Vitor's got his work cut out as well in getting a tune out of them. As I say, they'll be better once the season starts than they have been so far. That's just naturally how pre-season and the season's going to work. But they need to be a lot better if they're going to get anything on Saturday and going forward.
Wolves 0, Celta Vigo 1. For all the post-match reaction, make sure you log on to expressandstar.com.